It's happening. It's happening. Summer Games Fest is only 10 days away, or at least 10 days away by the time I'm recording this. And if Jeff Keighley really knows what he's doing, I feel like this could be an incredible Summer Games Fest or a really bad one. I'll tell you why. Because there are so many games that the audiences really want to hear about, or games that people want announced. Of course, people want everything to be announced, right? Everybody has their own little niche of game that they want to be announced at the Game Awards or the Summer Games Fest, and sometimes it works, and sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't. But what I really wanted to do here was try and figure out what games could they announce, or what games could they show at the Summer Games Fest that would make it a great show or a bad show, and see what predictions we can make that may or may not happen at the Summer Games Fest. And we can look at this after the Summer Games Fest and see how good or bad we did or didn't do. So what we do know is that the schedule is it's gonna be June 6th at 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then there's going to be the indie showcase and then the Microsoft showcase. What I really want to get into are the games. Let's see what predictions. I mean, apparently Hideo Kojima is confirmed to appear during Summer Games Fest showcase. So that means we're definitely going to see Death Stranding 2 and potentially whatever else he might be working on, because we did see that there was an article that came out where Hideo Kojima was he was kind of scared that he wasn't going to live for the next 10 years for some reason. I don't know. But he had put a whole bunch of potential ideas, video game ideas that he had onto a USB drive and gave them to his assistant. So there's just a USB drive on there with gold that people will probably want to be getting at some point, because it said he was scared that he wasn't going to live for the next 10 years for some reason. So that's past tense. So I don't know if he is still planning on that or not. I don't know. Or if he's still adding to the USB drive. But anyway, so Hideo Kojima is definitely confirmed to be there. So we're definitely going to see Death Stranding 2. But everything else, I haven't seen a whole lot about. I've only seen the schedule and dates and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to see what people were gonna predict to be there. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really hope Resident Evil 9 gets announced or gets shown in some capacity, because I'm a huge fan of those games. And we know that they're making 9, like it's in development. But speaking of horror games, there's one that I really, really want to see. But they'll probably wait until the Game of the Year awards, or maybe some State of Play showcase, like PlayStation State of Play, where they'll show it. But I really want to see the Alien Isolation 2 sequel, because that was announced. It was announced. I'm not just conspiracy theorying here, but it was announced at, was it in December or January of last year or this year, that Sega is making the game. Like they're developing it. It's in development. They're working on it, or at least, well, it's probably in pre-production or pre-development or something like that, in the planning stages at the time of them, announcing the game. But we could see like a CGI trailer or something that shows the idea, the path that they're going to go down, because there's so many shooter Alien games, and I love Alien so much. I love it to the moon and back. But there's so many shooter Alien games, and what kicked off the Alien movies and shows and story was the fact that he was a horror monster. He was scary. It was this group of people that were locked in a room with this monster that they knew nothing about, and they had to survive. And Aliens, the best movie of the whole franchise, objectively. Now, you may love a different movie, but I personally love Aliens the best. But that blended the two so harmoniously. The two being like the horror genre of it being scary and being stuck in a room with this monster, right? And the shooty action thing. So that way you have both, right? For example, when Sigourney Weaver and the actress who plays Newt, I don't know her name, but when they were trapped in the room with two face huggers and they had to like get out, that was the most intense thing I had ever, at the time of seeing the movie, it was the most intense thing I'd ever seen on film. So I really hope they continue the scary, like, single player survival horror experience, or like Resident Evil with Alien Isolation. I feel like that would be so good. It'd be so good. That's what people want. That's how Alien Isolation really thrived, I think. But anyway, I'm getting a little too deep into this game. We got a whole bunch of games. But anyway, that's how you know where my head is. So also Silent Hill F. I don't know. We'll probably see more about that one. It looked interesting to me. I also heard that this is sort of like a standalone Silent Hill. So I don't know if you're going to need to play any of the other ones. I don't think so. I think they announced that you didn't have to. Definitely those 3 games I would love to see. I don't know how much we're going to see about Jurassic Park Survival. That may be a Summer Games Fest kind of vibe, kind of situation that they may show at this point, but I have no idea. I really just want an announcement for those games, and of course we'll probably see something for Ghost of Yotai because it's coming to that time, right, where that game's the game's trying to come out. Ooh, Tides of Annihilation. Yeah, that game, the one with the Shadowheart voice actress. And Mael voice actress who did Mael in Expedition 33. That's her new big game, right? Tides of Annihilation. It's sort of like Devil May Cry-ish gameplay. I think there's gonna be a lot of eyes on that, and I really hope they show something at some. I think they probably will, because the first time they announced it, they showed a bunch of gameplay for it. But I don't know how much they're actually going to show, because I don't know how close we are to the release date. I don't know if they've announced it. Okay, so yeah, this game has a tentative release window of 2026. So we might see something more. I feel like this might be more of a Game Awards kind of situation. Like I feel like it's that big. Like I don't think they show a whole bunch of the big stuff at Summer Games Fest. Of course, we all want the Bloodborne remake, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But definitely Lies of P Overture. Definitely see that, especially since they've, released demo portions of that DLC to streamers and stuff, so that way, we could see it. And if they've done that, we'll definitely see some gameplay at Summer Games Fest, I think. But anyway, I feel like those are some of the big hit. Oh, Silk Song. Because Summer Games Fest is happening the day after Nintendo Switch 2 releases, and they officially announced in like the 2-second window of the Nintendo Switch Direct that Silk Song is a thing. Like it's coming out on Switch 2, and it's coming, and Summer Games Fest is happening the day after the Switch 2 comes out. So hopefully we'll see something more of Silk Song. I really hope so. But I feel like those are the big things. What do you think? What are your predictions for Summer Games Fest? I really hope we get to see the things that I listed, but I don't know. We've been burned so many times with a lot of these situations, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in the next BioShock we'll see something about. But I hear that's in development hell, so I don't know how well that's gonna do. But anyway, if you like the video, subscribe, like, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and your predictions for Summer Games Fest before it happens, and then we can look back at the video. But anyway, see you all in the next video. Bye bye.